Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on 95.7 KCMO Talk Radio. I'm Kevin Kietzman. We have a very special broadcast for you today. The name of the show is Uncanceled because if you are new to the program or new to my body of work, about 6 years ago, a little over 6 years ago, I was canceled. And I largely was canceled by the Kansas City Chiefs for things that I had said on my radio show about Andy Reid's son, Brit, being a coach on the team, when every single defensive coach on the team had been fired in that spring of 2019, except Brit Reid. And they allowed him to stay. It was at very least nepotism, but it was more than that if you know the story of Brit Reid and his brother and Andy Reid and everything that happened through the years with the Reid family. It is a story of great personal tragedy for the Reid family. It is nothing anybody wants to see anyone ever have to go through. It is remarkable how private they've kept it. It is remarkable how successful Andy Reid has been coaching football. The Chiefs at this point had not yet won a Super Bowl. They had just come off losing to the Patriots in the AFC title game. It was Patrick Mahomes' first year as the starter. Dee Ford lined up off sides. The rest is history. Andy'd had enough with his defense. They cleaned the whole thing out. Brit Reid remained, and it became a topic on my show. I made an off-the-cuff reference that many people consider to be insensitive. And as I am getting ready to play for you the new comments of Brit Reid, who has come clean on everything that has happened from Philadelphia to Kansas City in a podcast interview that is unbelievable, to say the least. As I get ready to play that for you, I have a new appreciation for Brit, Andy, the entire family, and an understanding of why the Chiefs wanted to cancel me. The Chiefs, people that I had contacts with, they're in my phone. They wouldn't take my calls. They wouldn't answer my emails. So up front, full disclosure, there's a personal side to this. I want to get that out of the way before I move on to the better story. I've never fully understood for 6 years how so many people that I had worked that closely with, I took them Christmas gifts. The media department out there, I'd take them Topsy's popcorn at Christmas time, do nice things for people. Clark Hunt, when he wanted to be on radio or talk about something, it was my show that he came on. We were never close friends, but we had a lot in common. We're the same age, except for the money part. We were sort of raised the same way. We loved football. I was respected by everyone out there. And almost immediately they turned on me, turned the lights out, and I never heard from them again. I couldn't get a press credential when my podcast started up. I have 130,000 followers, 8 million downloads. I'm not asking for a press pass. I don't want to go cover the Chiefs anymore. That part of my life is over. I don't want to deal with sports teams anymore. You don't want to know how the sausage is made. But this was brutal and it was tough. And now I understand that in 2019, the Chiefs thought that I knew Brit Reid's story. We did not know Brit Reid's story until he was commuted. His sentence was commuted by Governor Parson. Served his time. He's on house arrest until the end of this month. He has a new website called BritSpeaks.com. He's talking about addiction, being clean, and helping other people. I heard he did a podcast interview. The podcast is called That Sober Guy Podcast. And I thought, oh boy, this is him restarting. It's going to be a bunch of fluff. He's not going to say anything. He's going to be a victim. He's going to apologize to the girl, and they're going to move on. It was not. It was a bare buckle, completely unfiltered account of everything that's happened in his life from the time he became a drug addict as a teenager. It started with him as a football player on painkillers. He started at the top of the food chain. If you're going to start doing drugs, you might as well start with heroin and cocaine. He worked his way down. He got clean for a couple of years between Philadelphia and Kansas City, but started back up here. Thought he could handle maybe marijuana and alcohol. That didn't work out either. You have to hear these comments. I'm going to play a clip for you right now where he explains the tragedy that occurred in Philadelphia that most people in Kansas City are not aware of. When Andy was coach there, toward the end of his tenure there, Brit Reid had basically wasted his opportunity at Arizona State because of drugs, guns, everything. Moves back to Philadelphia. The boys are basically living at home with mom and dad in Andy Reid's house. They have guns, they have drugs, they're dealing, they're using, they're buying, they're selling. They both wound up getting convicted and going to jail. When they got out, they couldn't work. because they were felons. Andy hired them both or got them jobs. In this case, you'll hear Brit explain that he's at Rutgers University nearby as a coach, where his little brother is a running back on the team. The older brother is coaching with Andy with the Eagles at training camp. That's where he overdosed on drugs, which we just found out about 25 feet away from Andy Reid. Their rooms were right across from each other. Andy was keeping his eye on his oldest son when he overdosed on these drugs. This is a terrible, horrific story. Brit Reid on a podcast telling it all, unfiltered. You got to hear this.
I introduced my older brother to opiates as well. And my older brother had been straight as an arrow. And I introduced him to Oxycontin after his freshman year in college. And that grabbed a hold of him so much faster than it ever grabbed a hold of me. And he spent the next couple of years bouncing in and out of rehabs. And so when I moved back to Philadelphia, he had just gotten out of a rehab. He moved back to Philly to my parents' house. And so now I'm back in my old stomping grounds with my partner in crime. And I'm out running and gunning again.
Yeah.
And everything kind of came to a head in January of 2007. I was taking classes at a community college, and I'm on my way to class one morning, high as a kite, and I get into an altercation with another driver. And I get in a fight with him, and I end up pulling a gun on him. Later that day, my brother shoots up with some heroin, gets in his car, starts driving, nods off, runs a red light, and T-bones this lady. So 2 separate instances, the same day we both get arrested.
Wow.
Right? I mean, it was complete chaos. By the time I bailed out of jail, I could barely make it up the road to my parents' house. There was so much media. You know, I finally get up to the house, and there's literally helicopters hovering over our house.
Wow.
You know, I mean, it was crazy, but, it was then that, I ended up getting sent to jail. I mean, I did 6 months in jail I got out in February of 2008, and, I got into a treatment program, drug court program. And that's when I first found the rooms of recovery. You know, I started going to NA meetings and AA meetings, and, I was clean for a long time. And, I had a slight relapse in 2012. My brother, he also went to prison. He did two years upstate. And, you know, I get out of jail. I start to try to rebuild my life. That's when I got into coaching. I actually started coaching at a private high school in Philadelphia. And then my brother gets out of prison. He's trying to rebuild his life. And he did an internship with my dad at the Philadelphia Eagles. He was a strength and conditioning intern. And in 2012, I was getting married, and we fly out to California for my wedding. And I get married. I go on my honeymoon. I come back. At this time, I'm working for Temple University, right? And working with their football team. And so I get back from my honeymoon, and we got to report to training camp. My brother reports to the Eagles training camp. I report to Temple University's training camp. And 3 days into training camp, the head coach comes and knocks on my office door. And I'm in my office working on practice scripts, and he's got my little brother with him. My little brother played running back for us at Temple University. And he says, "Hey, I need to see you in my office." I go down to his office, and me and my little brother walk into his office. He hands me a phone, walks out, and closes the door. I answer that phone, and it's my dad on the other line. And he's like, "Hey, Britt, Garrett OD'd last night." And I mean, dude, I was crushed.
Gosh,
I mean, that's my best friend, man.
Yeah.
Like, we did everything together. We were coaches' kids, so we moved a lot. And, you know, it didn't really matter where we went because I always had my best friend.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me he OD'd, but it didn't register right away.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I asked my dad, I was like, "Okay, well, what hospital is he at?"
Yeah.
And he said, "No, you don't understand. He OD'd and died." And, I was just crushed, man. My whole world came crashing down. My brother dead because of the drug I introduced him to, you know? And I remember getting in me and my brother jumped in my truck and we drove up to the Eagles training camp. And it was complete insanity up there. I mean, my dad had to cancel the morning practice, and didn't tell the media why.
Yeah.
So they knew something was going on. There's police all around the dorm room. And so we get up there, we're trying to navigate through the media, through the police barricade. We finally get up to the dorm, and I remember walking into the dorm, and my dad's room was right across the hallway from my brother's. And I walk into my dad's dorm room, and he gives me and my little brother a hug, and he's like, "Hey, come with me." And he walks us across the hallway, and I walk into this dorm room, and I'll never forget, right there to the right, all 6'5", 300 pounds of my brother's laid out on this couch. And it looked like he was sleeping,
Wow.
And I walked up and I grabbed his arms, and I looked, at his arms, and I saw one needle mark in his left arm, and I didn't need a toxicology report or anything else to tell me that he had just died from an opiate overdose.
Yeah.
But as you know, I mean, addiction is so cunning, baffling, and powerful, man. I left that room where I was just holding my dead brother, and I went and used the same drug that had just killed him.
Brit Reid on a podcast after getting out of prison, getting clean, and changing his life. He has a website called BritSpeaks.com. He's trying to help other addicts. I can't tell you how skeptical I was going into listening to his words, thinking this was going to be. It was not. Where Brit is today is a great place. He's going to be challenged his whole life by addiction. No telling what happens in a month or a year or 10 years or 20 years. This is an amazing story about a family persevering and succeeding in so many ways professionally in a sport that gives us so much joy to watch and thrills us and entertains us. And we don't know these people that play and coach and perform at all. They're no different than the rest of us. They have incredible hurdles and challenges in their lives. When we come back on Uncanceled, what happened in Kansas City after Brit Reid got clean and how he fell off the wagon and it led to that tragic accident the week of the Super Bowl outside Arrowhead Stadium. Next on KCMO.
Hey, it's Vince Colonnese. Catch my new show at 11 o'clock after Kevin Kietzman on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Welcome back to Uncanceled. Hey, that's a new drop. Vince Colonnese promoting us. How about that? The Vince Show is coming up at 11 o'clock. Appreciate you, Vince. Thank you very much for all you do for us here at KCMO Talk Radio. We're talking about an unbelievable interview that Brit Reid has done after serving his prison time, getting out, and resetting his life. And I'll explain a little bit of what transpired in Kansas City, but I'm not going to spend the whole show playing clips of Brit Reid. So if you found that interesting, sorry, Vince, at 11, after this show is over, go to my podcast. I play much more of it, including him telling the story of what happened in Kansas City. My podcast is Kevin Kietzman Has Issues. You can simply go to a browser. If you're not a podcast listener, just go to the website kkhasissues.com. That's kkhasissues.com and hit the play button. It's the first podcast up there, and you can hear it on your laptop, computer, anywhere. If you listen to podcasts, hit the like, follow, or subscribe button. You'll get it every single morning. It's up, and I've included in the episode today him telling the story of what happened after he got to Kansas City. Brit Reid got clean, became a member of the staff here in Kansas City, and thought he was going to be fine, but then got tempted again. This is a man that stair-stepped his way down the ladder of addiction. He started at the top with opioids, heroin, and cocaine, and he thought, well, what's a little weed hurt here and there? And he'd never really drank alcohol until he came to Kansas City because obviously the drugs were enough to get him high. So he started drinking alcohol, and he started doing it at work. And then they shut him down during COVID at home. And he drank all day while on Zoom calls, coaching through Zoom. He had a bottle in the drawer, just sat there and drank all day and was coaching via Zoom. He carried it back out to Arrowhead Stadium. When they reported there, it was all there. It's impossible to believe, and he indicates in his comments that they were aware of this, that they knew what was going on. The most troublesome part for me still is the part that if a business knows they have an employee with this problem and they're doing this at work, you cannot allow that to continue. It completely explains why Clark Hunt and the Kansas City Chiefs got involved and took care of the family of that little girl. Britt goes into great detail, if you listen to the podcast that I put up today, about the night he crashed the car, how it terrified him seeing her, the little girl, on his car as the EMTs were treating her. Said it was on his truck bed is where the girl was. It's an unbelievable story about the accident, what he had done that day, what happened, why he went to the hospital instead of jail, what happened when he got home a few days later, how the team went to the Super Bowl without him. He tells it all. He tells the entire story. He is remorseful, very much wants to meet that little girl, but can't. Says if he makes any contact with the family, they'll throw him back in jail. And the Hunt family, of course, the Chiefs, took care of that family. We know that nothing really ever happened other than what the prosecutors in Kansas City, Missouri, or Jackson County, and eventually the state of Missouri, got involved in with charging him with. There's no civil suit or any of those things. It is logical to me, can't confirm this, but you can hear his comments if you go listen to what he said happened. It is logical to me that the Chiefs understood that they had an employee that was the son of a head coach drinking and getting high at work. And somehow it was allowed and led to that. And it fully explains why the Chiefs took care of this. So it's just an unbelievably complicated story. You can certainly understand parents who are wanting in every possible way to help their child recover from whatever problem they have and have a good life. And you try and you try and you try to help your kids. There isn't anything you wouldn't do for your kids. And this is one of those stories, man. You're not going to catch me addressing any blame or fault toward Andy Reid. There was a lot of stuff going on in his house and at the workplace through the years, a lot. But I see him as the dad and not the football coach. As for the organization or the team, if they knew, if maybe it was only Andy, I don't know who knew or who didn't know. Brit Reid, when he talks about this, it sounds impossible that people around him didn't know that he was using. He basically says, I was such a mess and so high, and then he thought alcohol would be easy. It won't hook me like heroin did. And he said, it was harder than any of the other drugs. I couldn't get off it. I had to drink it all day. It's unbelievable, folks. You want to hear the story of what happened in Kansas City, go to the podcast page, kkhasissues.com. That's kkhasissues.com. All right. So it's a little unnerving. It's a heavy topic, but if you want to talk about that and you have any question you want to ask me, I'll do this one time today, and then I'll not talk about anything that I knew or didn't know or involved with or whatever was going on with the team some 6 or 7 years ago. Our number is 913-408-7957. That's 913-408-957. If you want to hear the entire podcast of Brit Reid, it's an hour long. And of the hour long, I would bet that 50 minutes of it is him talking. Well, they have an intro. They may have 10 minutes intro at the beginning before Brit comes on. Of the 50 minutes of the Brit Reid interview, the host doesn't talk much. He asked very short questions, and Brit was just unloading. It was like a therapy session, which is what the podcast is. It's called That Sober Guy Podcast, and it's a forum for addicts to go and tell their story and get it off their chest, almost like they're in therapy. In this case, it winds up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere all over the internet for everyone to hear. I don't think it gets a lot of listeners. It's mostly therapy sessions, and it is remarkable. It's the kind of thing that you would have in a private conversation with a family member or therapist. It's called That Sober Guy Podcast. If you want to check it out. Uncanceled continues on KCMO.
From Smithville to Shawnee Mission, it's Kevin Kietzman. Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
If you'd like to join in the conversation, give me a shout at 913-408-7957. Phone lines are open, and we'll be moving on to some news here in just a moment as well, because so much going on in the world. But let's go to the phones for a couple of phone calls, and we will start with Stephen. Hi, Stephen. How is your world today?
Hey, Keith. What up, man? I've been pretty outspoken over the years. I still think you did nothing wrong. I think it's great that he's trying to atone for his mistakes. I thought Andy was nuts when he brought Michael Vick on on the training camp as an associate volunteer coach or whatever. But I think the miscalculation that I made back then is that this organization and team are too big to fail. It's not the case in every town, but you were just doing your job as it was prescribed, and they were on. It's like an avalanche. It's like a snowball avalanche that consumes everything that gets in their way. So I mean, I'm not judging. I'm just saying that's
okay.
What they're doing.
I appreciate your support, and that's nice, but we don't want to make this too much about me. I said I'll do this one time. I did it one time on the podcast. I'll do it one time here, and then it's onward. The bottom line is this, everybody always uses this cliche. Things happen for a reason. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. Okay, I didn't do anything wrong. A giant corporation circled the wagons and wanted me out, and now I have complete closure. Last night I told my wife I just found out why the Chiefs did what they did to me. They did it to me because they thought I knew everything and I was going to go on the air and do it. I was immediately suspended and not allowed to be in the studio. I was like, hey, let me keep, the Chiefs were a partner of Sports Radio 810 at the time, and they're like, no, you're not getting anywhere near a microphone. The Chiefs thought I was about to bust out all the information on Brit Reid and what was going on at Arrowhead. They thought that. Now, that was incorrect. I didn't have that information. I didn't know what Brit Reid was doing. I just knew he wasn't much of a football coach and was the only guy that hadn't been fired on the defensive side, and it made no sense to me. So Kevin, I was just collateral damage on the thing, and trust me, I am nobody to the Kansas City Chiefs, but I did nothing wrong, and it's why this show is called Uncanceled, because these things happen. I got a buyout from my other company. I was the largest shareholder in that company. It's been the biggest blessing of my life. It's allowed me to do what I want to do at a time in my life where that's very important to me and my wife and a grandchild that's coming. This could not have worked out better for me. So don't anybody out there think anything about old Kev. I am just thrilled today that Brit Reid is coming clean, that he can talk about this stuff, and there is no doubt when you listen to that podcast, okay, that he is absolutely clean and dedicated to helping other people. If that lasts the rest of his life, he's going to do a lot of good the rest of his life. The only downfall of this is you can never take back the life of his brother, and you can never get back the full health of that little girl. There was a lot of damage along the way.
Well, the only point I'm making is that I don't think Woodward and Bernstein could have gotten to the bottom if there was alcohol inside that facility, and you were simply trying to objectively get to the issue at hand, and this is very dangerous. I hate to sound like Ted Cruz here, but this is extremely dangerous. If they can get away with that, what else can they get away with? And I'm just saying I love the Chiefs, but I realize that Clark Hunt's actions speak volumes, and I'll just leave it there. The NFL is the NFL. I mean, we got Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl, and Taylor Swift has turned them down 8 times. They've got big problems. The NFL needs to stop doing culture stuff. I mean, they've got to stay away from culture stuff and trying to rehab guys like Vic. I love dogs, man, and I mean that was a big pill to. It was, but swallow.
Okay, agreed. Now let me say this about Michael Vick, because I know this story very well as well, and he's very close to and friends with Andy Reid. Michael Vick's story is a smashing success. An unbelievable rehabilitation success. I'm telling you right now, there's no better person out there than Michael Vick. He's coaching college football. He's making a difference in young people's lives. He was raised in a way that he didn't really know what he was doing wrong. I give him complete benefit of the doubt. He served his jail time. He got out. got work, and repaid everyone that was harmed. I mean, I'm talking about money, like hard money, all the fines, all the judgments against him, everything. He did all that first. And you know what he paid himself? He paid, of what he was making in the NFL, he kept $5,000 a month for himself. And everything else he was making, he paid to other people to make it all right. Michael Vick is a smashing success story of rehabilitation. And I believe in this, but it's also on a bigger picture issue of what we talk about here every day. And people like Quentin Lucas, it drives me crazy. We got a teenage kid that beat up an older usher at T-Mobile Center a couple weeks ago. Okay, we saw that. This kid can be helped. He can have a great life, but not if you don't punish them properly and get them help at the right time. Brit Reid's story is, if I hadn't got taken in by the state of Missouri, and he went to 5 different facilities, they got me clean. They taught me about this podcast. He found all kinds of ways to change his life. The system doesn't work for everyone, but it works for most. We need to incarcerate these people that are harming society and give them the opportunity to change their life. And then they can go out, and Brit Reid and Michael Vick are classic examples of people who are out, and right now they're doing positive things. That's a win, if you ask me.
God bless Michael Vick and everything, but I'm still questioning whether Andy has so many connections, why he turns training camp into a home for wayward boys. I don't get it, but I know it's don't judge. I've watched The Kingdom. I've watched the documentary.
Well, that's not unique to Andy Reid. The NFL, for generations, if you can play, they'll find a way to keep you out of jail and get you on the field. That's the NFL. The NFL's been that way. Now, baseball isn't like that anymore. Baseball used to be like that, but they're really not like that. Baseball doesn't have much tolerance. A lot of sports don't have much tolerance, but the NFL still does, and there's a lot of trouble out there, like Rashee Rice. That was a very serious crime he committed. They will welcome him back in 2 weeks, and you know what? I'm going to guess Rashee Rice is a better person going forward the rest of his life because of the trouble he's been in. I certainly hope that's the case. I hope the system works and it helps him. People do dumb things, man, and they commit crimes, and I believe in second chances. I do.
You did the right thing, and these guys think they're bulletproof, and now we're giving them the armor to make them bulletproof. But that's just my 2 cents.
All right, good call, Stephen. I think my issue, if there is any issue with the story, it's not the NFL. It's maybe that an organization like the Chiefs is so wealthy that something like this happens with Brit Reid and that little girl, and I don't know what they settled for. Let's say it was $5 million over her lifetime or whatever they're going to pay for her college and take care of her and buy her a house when she's grown up and all that. So whatever it is, whatever the settlement was lucrative, but it was nothing for the Chiefs. It was nothing compared to what a trial would have been for the Chiefs. If they had gone forward and sued the Chiefs in civil trial and gotten all the discovery in a building where at the time, if you remember this, they literally had wristbands on every employee because of COVID. So they could track everywhere that they went in the building at every moment of the day. It was all in the computer. And they can't erase that. There was video cameras everywhere. Any employee that goes out to their car and smokes pot, you're going to see that on the security cameras in the parking lot. It is impossible to believe that the Chiefs did not know that Brit Reid was drunk and high at work all the time. That's impossible. Okay? So they had all kinds of liability in this, and they bought their way out of it. If it were a smaller company, and I have a very small company, it's just me and my wife. It's called Crooked Tail Media. If I knew Jessica drank all day and got in a company car or whatever and went to go meet a client and got in a crash and hurt a 5-year-old little girl, totally different situation. I don't have that kind of money to settle that out. That's going to trial. That's going to be a civil trial. They're going to break me. They're going to get every bit of insurance they can. They're going to get everything out of me that they can through my company. So, yes, the double standard in this country is the size of your company or the size of your bank account really does matter. It makes a huge difference. The Chiefs were able to keep this out of trial, out of court, out of lawsuits. They did. And everybody, you knew it at the time because you saw the Chiefs handling it for Brit Reid. Well, no, if the Chiefs didn't want to be involved in handling it for Brit Reid, it would have been Andy that could have done it. Andy has deep enough pockets that he could have done it, but it wasn't. It was the Chiefs, and they made sure that it was all taken care of, and I'm glad they did. I'm glad the family's whole. I hope they like their settlement. I hope they're moving on, and that little girl is just living her very best life. We understand that her health is just getting better each and every year that passes, and things are going well, and this thing can all just be put behind us. But this feels like some sort of I grew up Catholic. I'm Catholic. It's a confessional for Brit Reid. This entire podcast sounds like him going in, getting on his knees, and telling the priest everything. It's an unbelievable listen. You can hear the part about Kansas City if you want to go listen to my podcast. It's at kkhasissues.com. That's kkhasissues.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. It's Kevin Kietzman Has Issues. And Brit himself was on a podcast called That Sober Guy. And that's where he unloaded for the better part of an hour. Truly remarkable story. Also in Kansas City on this day, we have reporting from Channel 9 that tells us Kay Barnes is going to be the interim county executive in Jackson County. I once was very close to Kay Barnes professionally when they wanted to build Sprint Center. And it was the first Democrat I was ever really close to. And the closer I got to her, the more I realized she's not a Democrat. She really wasn't. We both liked building Sprint Center for the same reasons. Kemper was in the wrong place. There's no reason to refurbish or renovate something like Kemper Arena. Let's build new like they do in other cities, something shiny and new. And let's not tax the people here. Let's use a rental car tax. Airport and hotel rental car taxes. You rent a car, the tax that's slapped to your rental car is going to go to pay for this building. It worked. We didn't pay for that by and large. Didn't pay for that. If you went to your local enterprise because your car, whatever, there might have been a tax on it, but normally that's your insurance company paying for that because your car's in the shop or something. There was very few Kansas Cityans that put any money into Sprint Center. It was a great economic boon. It's been a success. We did not get an NHL or an NBA team. I would ride the trolley with Kay Barnes up and down the streets. We had megaphones. I was kind of a thing back then. Hey, radio boy, why don't you come ride the trolley with us and convince people this is a good idea? I liked it because I thought there was a chance, not a good one. I never really believed a hockey team was coming, but I thought, well, there's a chance. We're certainly not going to get one with Kemper. Let's try this. Plus, I liked the idea of a new arena and better concerts and more things to do in a revived downtown. That all worked. Kay Barnes and I were in lockstep on all of this all the way. I was at the victory party after it passed. Had a glass of champagne. I didn't have a glass. I had a sip. I don't like champagne. Then I moved on to beer because I will drink a glass of beer. But I don't like champagne enough to drink a whole glass. I will touch it to my lips because it's decorum.
Celebration, yeah.
Of course. It's about it. Kay Barnes was a rock star. Probably the last great Democrat in this town because she wasn't a Democrat. They described her and said, well, she's from the Northland. She's not really one of us, is the way they would say. I said, well, let's just watch her do her thing. And she did great things. She should get more credit than anyone for what downtown is today. She's 87. She's going to be in Jackson County for what, a month? They're saying not very long as the interim county executive. I don't know what she will do over that month, but somebody's got to calm the waters in the wake of what Frank White hath left behind. So I'm a Kay Barnes fan. You're not 87 and Kay Barnes and have her political record of being a Bill Clinton type Democrat, which is what she is, tough on crime, all those things. You're not 87 and all of a sudden woke. So I don't think we have a problem with Kay Barnes in the meantime in Jackson County. What they replaced her with permanently is anybody's guess. But I have always liked Kay Barnes, and she seemed like a Republican to me. That's all I can tell you. I don't know anything about her politics the last 20 years. She disappeared kind of from sight. I will say as a footnote, the only issue Kay Barnes didn't win on the front of downtown was she could not convince the Royals to build downtown. And that was a mistake because now we've kicked the can 20 years down the road and here we are again. Renovating is just kicking the can down the road. These teams both need new stadiums right now. That is a much better solution than billions of dollars into the old ones. We're going to be sorry in a few years. We're going to be sorry. The Royals aren't renovating, but the Chiefs apparently are still considering it. We come back, we'll check in with my man Mark. He's got a lot to talk about today. We're going to have some fun. We're brought to you by bestofferkc.com, helping you leave the hassle behind. Call 816-338-SOLD for bestofferkc.com. They're terrific when people have issues. We've talked an awful lot about today, family issues, things that happen in real life to real people. When those things happen and you need to sell a house quickly, Best Offer KC is absolutely the most compassionate friend you can find in the real estate business. They don't list it. You don't have to clean it up. You don't even have to do anything with your contents. They can arrange everything for you and take care of it all. If you need to move quickly or if you inherit a house and you just want to sell it, they'll do everything from start to finish. BestOfferKC.com. They don't judge you or make jokes that your house is ugly or something like that. They just want to get you in your best situation. It's really about people at BestOfferKC.com. 816-338-SOLD for bestofferkc.com, helping you leave the hassle behind.
From Lawrence to Leavenworth, it's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Oh, I love to drink iced tea before 2 o'clock. I read a story that says you got to get it out of your system 8 hours before you go to bed, or it will affect the way you sleep. So I stop by 2 o'clock almost every day. I am dying to win this iced tea from you today, Mark.
See, here's the thing. You're going to owe me a Coke Zero. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, There's no caffeine in that.
I know.
Okay, so we have a bet on who wins the Guardians-Tigers series for one 32-ounce soda at QT, right?
Yep. The big Q.
I'm on the Tigers. You're on the Guardians.
Yep.
The Tigers made the dumbest play in the history of wild card baseball yesterday. Did you see it?
I didn't get to watch it. I was just watching the box score.
Runner around second base with 2 outs. This game's tied at 1.
Mm-hmm.
There's a run scoring in front of him. He tries to get the third. Golden rule, don't make the first or third out at third base.
Mm-hmm.
They call him safe. They review it, and he probably was barely out, and they call him out. Then they look at a different camera, and the guy that scored the run is 3 feet from home plate. They take the run off. They took it off the board. They'd already counted the run. It was 2-1 Detroit.
That's rough.
Took it off the board. So, yes, you're probably going to win. When you catch that break, you're probably going to win. They lost 2-1, right?
Yeah.
They lost.
No, the Guardians scored a lot at the end.
That's what. Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't watch that.
It was
part.
6-1 or something.
Oh,
like that,
gosh.
yeah.
Okay. They brought in their worst pitcher.
Yeah, the momentum changed hugely.
Gotcha. And it was 2-1 forever, right?
Yeah.
Guardians. Yeah. Okay. How about this one? Albert Pujols from Kansas City, right? He played junior college ball here.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri legend, as manager of the Los Angeles Angels.
I saw the rumblings. I don't hate it.
So managers in baseball do less than any other coaches, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Or have less effect. Not that they do less, they work hard.
Yeah.
But they have less effect.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think a major league manager should be more about, in the weeds and decision making, all that, or just be the leader of the thing?
Be the leader of the thing. Kind of be the rah-rah guy when you need him to.
That's Pujols, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you've ever been around Albert Pujols, you just want to follow him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm with that guy, whatever it is that he does. Did you see the Milwaukee Brewers live scrimmage yesterday? They're off. The Brewers are in the division series, so they got to bye through the wild card. They're good. That's very similar to the Royals, small market, the whole deal. So they had an inter-squad live game yesterday inside in Milwaukee in their building. Did you see any of this?
I did not.
No fans, nothing. But they recorded it and released it. They turned the bullpen coach into the home plate umpire. They got him the whole gear and everything, right? Then they put the ABS, which is the automated balls and strikes, on the Jumbotron.
Okay.
The entire live scrimmage was making fun of the bullpen coach for every call that he missed.
That's awesome.
Oh, God, they were having so much fun. If you want to see a loose team that's having fun in the baseball playoffs, it's the Milwaukee Brewers.
I think we're going to get challenges next year.
Absolutely. Only the pitcher, the hitter, or the catcher can ask for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking it away from the managers. Good stuff. Hey, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Mark Van Sickle, as always, great job. Thank you for listening to Uncanceled. The Vince Show is coming up next on KCMO Talk Radio.